This podcast is sponsored by Hoft, Hub of Finance Transformation Consulting. And at Hoft, we empower organizations to achieve unparalleled success through innovative consulting, capacity building, and technology solutions. Headquartered in the UAE with a global presence, our mission is to transform finance functions and entire businesses by leveraging the expertise of our world-class team. Join us as we guide you on your transformation journey towards excellence, innovation, and sustainable growth.
I think I've seen in my company during the last 15 years, and many other companies as well, a very good salesman when it comes to technology, target the headquarter and go to the chief IT officer and make a very big, nice presentation about technology that will resolve all our challenges. And then once we land this tool, we discover that this tool is not capable enough to measure the end-to-end process. And I think many companies now, especially the big corporation, multinational, they decided to throw all the technology that they have and they go for the fully integrated business planning, if I may say. And we're not going to discuss the integrated business planning without having you, Tariq, here. So welcome to the show and happy to have you on our podcast as well.
Thank you, Mahmoud. It's my pleasure to be on the show.
You have a very unique passion for IBP. Before we go into the integrated business planning, why you have this passion for the integrated business planning in general?
So, see, IBP is a process, right? It is that one singular process that cuts across the end-to-end organization, right? It removes that planning silos between different functions, right? And I do believe it is that unlock which is needed in today's fast-moving world to keep pace with the demand, with the supply, with your product portfolio and the resulting financial planning, right? And then aligning it with your strategic business plans as well. So this is why this is one of the most important topics, I would say, and I'm glad to be speaking about and honored to be on your show to be speaking about this and sharing what little I know, of course.
Okay. But what is, can you just take us through your background? How did you end up on that passion for the integrated business planning in terms of background? What is your background or your journey in general in your career?
So I have more than 20 years of experience working in finance mostly.
Okay.
And I have done pretty much different roles within finance. Started off with PwC, then moved on to ExxonMobil, moved to PepsiCo 12 years ago. And I have done different roles within finance, from financial planning to reporting and supply chain planning. And I also got an opportunity to do integrated business planning during that time. And currently I'm leading the APAC finance transformation agenda. So over the period of time, as you grow in the organization and as your career grows and you start doing different roles, your natural progression comes out to be, you're looking after more bigger portfolio and how things are moving between different functions and how process flows are happening. So that's where all this passion around. So my passion lies in digital transformation, right? And I do believe integrated planning, business planning has a huge potential towards digital transformation as well. So that's why they both, I guess, go well hand in hand.
Okay. You have your own mission to create tech-enabled humanistic future. That's somehow a very complex mission. Can you just take us through this?
Yeah, it is complex. I must admit. So when we talk about technology, right, Mahmoud, generally we think of it a utopia, right, where suddenly AI is replacing humans, it's taking over jobs, or we see a business world where processes are automatically working in sync with each other seamlessly and without any human intervention. In part, it's true, but not entirely. Yes, AI is revolutionizing, technology is revolutionizing the way we work, we create, we collaborate. But having said that, at the end of the day, technology, or AI for that matter, is nothing but an augmentation of what human intelligence is. I do firmly believe that we are entering into a new cognitive era, right? Where we have this extension, this inorganic being as an extension of our organic intelligence, right? So we need to bring that human back into this technology equation, right? People sit at the center of digital transformation. People sit at the center of technology. So bringing human back is how we can actually unlock the real potential of the technology. If we look at it as an extension of human rather than the replacement of human. Yes, it's replacing tasks. It's not replacing humans. So this is how we need to look at it. And this is what my content, my writing, my trainings is all about as well, that I talk mostly around how do we bring back the people part, the humanistic element back into the technology.
Okay. Do you think adding, because maybe the mission might be go in another direction, that the more the AI is companion to the human, the AI is smart enough to learn even the human behaviors to that level, even to be more smarter than the human in some cases, that eventually that added organic might take over the entire organic? Do you think this
I was reading this or I was probably listening to Yuval Noah Harari. So he puts it very in a very eloquently that AI today is in its embryonic stage, right? So it's very basic at this moment, and it has a potential to grow to a point where it can become what you are referring to as, or what generally we refer to as an artificial general intelligence, right? Having said that, we are still very far away from that. There are number of yes, a lot of work is happening, but again, first of all, the question is that do we need to have an automated an artificial general intelligence being? Is there a need actually, or should we focus more around making this narrow intelligence, the artificial narrow intelligence as we know today, make it more advanced, right? So having said that, it's a debatable point. I don't believe we are very close to AGI. We still are far away. Humans will always have a place, right? Humans will always be at the center of it, and we will be the ones who will be driving it. I do firmly believe that. So yes, containment can be an issue, as you mentioned, that AI getting into the wrong hands is an issue, right? AI being misused is an issue, right? Those are the real issues. Those are the real problems that we should be focusing on, not on the AGI part of the thing. So containment, yes, is a big issue, right? How do we tackle that? How do we manage the cyber securities and all those things? That's important. So, but I do believe that humans still will remain somewhere in this equation.
Okay.
So that sci-fi future is probably a bit far away.
Okay. Let's see, because the rapid changes surprisingly. I think Apple, they release their iPhone once every year, right?
Yeah.
ChatGPT, they have every 3-4 months a new release of a new version, which is much more faster than.
Which is much more faster, and there are numerous tries. That's why I said that bringing human back is also means that how do we create a future of abundance and prosperity, right? How do we actually make human life better through technology at the end of the day? So if it is helping solve some of the complex problems like drug discovery, for instance, right? Is that enabling us to become a better human, right? Increasing our lifespan, making our lifestyle better. This is all what technology can unlock for us.
True. Because this is a very interesting subject. We're going to deviate from our subject. But one final comment on that. There was a big summit on AI here, sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, I think, at Medina Jumeirah. And one of the speakers, they said a very relative statement of what you said now, that if we agree globally on a direction to channel the AI toward the jobs that were lacking number of people, like for example, in North America, for example, there is, I think, a study of X number of people for every doctor. And they discovered the doctor spent so much time and his team in the examination at the beginning. If AI can automate the examination part at the beginning, and then the doctor intervention will be at the last stage. We can increase the number of people by doctor. Doctor can serve more people.
True.
That's where AI cannot replace jobs, but as well can help the humanity in general. For sending an AI or robots, for example, for difficult situation or difficult places to do some hard jobs and that. But now back to the IBB.
Yes.
Let's go back to the IBB. For our listener that they never heard the concept of integrated business planning, in a nutshell, if you can just take us through what is IBB and is it applicable to all organizations or a specific industry or organizations as well?
Okay, great. So great question. So our human brains are a fascinating thing, right? So human brain is fascinating. As I'm speaking with you right now, there we are firing billions of neurons and somehow deciphering what I'm saying in a way that your brain is purely in sync with me right now. So whatever I'm saying, you are able to understand that. And one human invention that makes it possible is called the language. So language made it possible that how we are able to communicate with each other. Now, or in other words, language is what makes our brains sync together. In an organizational setting, if we look at different planning functions like portfolio planning, business plan, demand planning, supply planning, financial planning, as brains of the organizations, which in a way they are, right? Integrated business planning is that one language that syncs all of them together so that they all work in harmony with each other, in sync with each other. So different planning functions working in sync with each other. Now, unfortunately, in many organizations, these planning functions work in not in that harmony that we would like to, and they work in mostly what we call a planning silo, right? What IBP does, that it breaks those planning silos so that the output from one planning function or one planning operation becomes the input of the next planning function. So for example, a planning process of portfolio planning, the output of that portfolio planning should become a part of your demand planning. Your demand planning should drive your decision making around your supply planning, your capacity things, and so on and so forth. And all of that then translates into eventually your financial plan as well. So that is the one way of describing IBP. What an additional thing that it does is it also is that link between your current plans, which are your tactical plans, and your strategic plans. So for instance, if your strategic plan is, for example, 5 years, and your current plans, which are generally, most of the organizations are doing a 12-month rolling plan, so they are generally their in-year budgets or so, and so on and so forth. IBP's horizon is generally 18 to 24 months. So it looks at that medium-term horizon planning cycle. So it acts as that conduit between that link between your strategic plan and your annual operating plans or your budgets, right? So at any given point in time, you will have a plan. You every month when you are running your cycles, whenever you are doing all your, and it's more than just meetings, of course, right? So when you are running your meetings, when you are doing your integrated business planning cycles, you are actually getting closer and closer, one step closer to achieving your strategic business objectives, or you come to know that why we should not be able to achieve that, or what will happen if we won't achieve that. So all those decisions becoming into that. So IBP is an excellent way of running your business. It's an excellent way of driving the business planning process from end to end perspective. It makes that fleeting dream of every CFO to have one plan a reality, right? So that this can actually help achieve that.
If we say that one organization, they don't have an IPP process in the way that you structure it as we speak now, giving the technology and the meetings and the forums and how it is fully integrated as you highlighted, and they just want to start this IBB project on a green field, if I may say, as a multinational, what would be the challenges implementing an IBB for a new organization or an organization that they never have before an IBP process?
So IBP is more than just a process, right? It's what I call a cultural change, right? It is your ways, it is the change in your ways of working, right? And that, I guess, is the biggest challenge, right? Changing the culture, changing the behaviors is one of the biggest challenges. And to do that, to overcome that, the first and foremost thing is to start from the top, right? Get that executive support in the beginning, right? And then build that executive support to drive your decision making through integrated business planning process, right? So that's one challenge. Second challenge, I would say, is around data, right? At the end of the day, data is what fuels your integrated business planning process at the end of the day. So you should have readily available data across the organization. So disparate data is a big challenge. And then, of course, thinking about saying that one plan or a highly accurate forecast is one thing, but then when the actual on ground things happen, there are a number of variables that it's dependent upon. So achieving that that level of forecast accuracy or that level of one plan is not that straightforward. It comes with its own challenges. But yeah, I mean, these can be these can be addressed in one way or the other.
Being on the finance domain, we always, as finance people, we look at the costs and the benefits. The concept of ROIs in every decision we make on a daily basis in our business. If you're heading the finance of one organization and a proposal came to you that we need to invest this money, time, effort, people, a part of it, finance people, into building an IBP plan, integrated business planning in our organization, what could be the benefit from a finance point of view?
So integrated business planning has proven to show benefits around improved service levels, better working capital, better inventory management, and similarly better financial plans, right? At the end of the day, a process like IBP would not generate immediate returns, right? So it will not happen that you will run a couple of meetings for a few months and you expect that your forecasting or your plans are getting better, your speed to market is increasing. So all these then eventually translate into one way or the other into financial benefits, right? Or your working capital is improving, or your service level has suddenly improved. It's a journey, right? So at the end of the day, what I do believe is that if we trust the process, right, and we use IBP to run the business, right? Now, this is very important point. IBP should be the way which it should be the only way you should run your business, right? This is how the operational and functional, operational and other decisions are made. So those should be made within those IBP forums or within those IBP meetings that happen. Once that start to happen, you will automatically see more and more benefits flowing through for IBP process, right? Your demand plans will get better. You will have your portfolio planning will get better, which will result into which will feed into your better demand plans. Better demand plans would mean your better supply planning, and your better supply planning, demand planning, and portfolio planning would eventually mean a much better product, which is your financial planning. Because at the end of the day, financial planning is driven by these different drivers of the business, if we may call it.
Okay. Just putting a question or challenge for you out of the context. If you heard one of your team member saying that the IPV process is very detailed and lengthy enough that we're wasting our time on multiple meetings, running up systems, we're going to come to the systems, cleaning the hygiene of the data, where before IBB, for example, we used to do all of this in one meeting, in one Excel, and we have high accuracy, better market forecast in that sense. They don't see the benefit of IBB, and you see in the traditional way of running the business, it's much more efficient when it comes to people, number of meetings, effort, technology, and investment. And the benefit is not as big as a result compared to the IBB. What do you say in that situation?
Great question.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's important to understand the benefit, right? So when it comes to IBP, right? IBP is more than just meetings, right? It is not about building an Excel plan. You can build a financial plan definitely in Excel, right? That's not the output of IBP, right? Your financial plan is one of the products that comes out of your IBP cycle, right? Because there are number of different decisions which are made in every forum to enable business growth at the end of the day, right? So we effectively every business wants to grow, right, in one way or the other. So those decisions that are made in different meetings, right, they actually then translate into a financial benefit or a financial loss or whatever those decisions entail. In Excel, we can create a financial model sitting in our room right away, sending out an input file to everyone, and then everyone just putting their inputs is fine.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, it's not, what we need to understand is that IBP is not a replacement of our annual planning process. What it does is it augments it in a way that since you are having those meetings every month and you are looking at a horizon which is 18 to 24 months. So naturally your next 12 months, which is generally your budget, your plan, is always updated, right? So you don't have to do that level of detailed work. In theory, you should not be doing that level of detailed work or the grunt work that you would do in your pure budgeting season, right? That every time in a budgeting season you are running behind people to document the assumptions. No, one of the very important aspect of IBP is the documentation around assumptions.
True.
Right? So if you are running an effective IBP process, you are already documenting all the assumptions behind your 18 to 24 months plan, or in a best in class 36 months, for example. So if you have those assumptions in place already, it means you pretty much have all the time your next 12 months ready. So you don't really have to do that last mile kind of run to come up with a budget. And that budgeting season, you don't really need to have a budgeting season, in my view, in theory.
Okay. Let me build on that question.
Yeah.
I just want to get the end of that discussion, because that's a real business discussion.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Are there any drawbacks for the IBP in your point of view?
I haven't seen any. I haven't
Okay.
seen any at this stage. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to run IBP, as you said, IBP is not a process. IBP is not a meeting, as you said. It's not about sort of meetings, input and output.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way how we run the business. It's a culture in the organization. And speaking about the data, technology play a bigger role in the IBP as a process. The real business challenges, Tariq, in the market, that finance team, they have a pricing system that is completely isolated from their cash up system, that cash up the financial forecast. That's completely isolated from factory constraining the demand signal.
True.
That's completely isolated from a demand discussion signal from the market and how we're going to manage it. These 3, 4, 5 silos, and we have multiple Excel sheets, emails, big data in between, what current or some organization, small and medium or even big organization, they call it, we have an IBP, for example.
Yeah.
Now, do you think there is one set of technology, one technology or multiple technology that can have a fully integrated business planning end to end?
So at the end of the day, technology does what it does best. It augments the process, right? So that's the at the end of the day intent of technology, right? If your process is not running smoothly, if your process is not running in the right way, people with the right governance, with the right roles and responsibilities, reviewing right matrices within every meeting, technology is just gonna be is not going to be doing much, right? Where technology really comes into play is that once you have a process in place, right? Once you have the behaviors in place, once you have that top management alignment in place, right, which is very important in running in any transformation, whether it's digital or whether it's process transformation. Top teams alignment or executive alignment is the key, right? So that's how you engage your vision, you mobilize your vision, right? Now, coming back to the technology part for IBP, I would never recommend going for a big bang approach, right? Whether it's when I talk about normal digital transformation topics or I talk about IBP, for instance, right? Whenever you're going for a digital transformation, start small, go incremental from there, right? Look for, first of all, get your bases right. Get your data in shape, right? That's the main underlying most important fuel for your IBP process. Once your data is in shape, once you have cleansed your data, half of your job is done, even probably more than half. Then I would never recommend that go and replace all IBP systems right away and go for one bigger system. However, what can happen is, in more practical way, is to have an overarching system in the beginning, right? Look at that overarching system, which can actually enable you to help the flow of data between different planning functions or the planning silos we talked about. So how the data flows from one planning function to another one, right? So use that overarching system to do that, and then through a roadmap and proper planning, start replacing those old outdated systems with maybe more advanced technologies and better systems, right, which are much more integrated overall. But again, you cannot go all in on these kind of things. You have to be careful when we are talking about big bang approach and going all in and then replacing all the systems. Having said that, this is what short term looks like, right? Future, I do see IBP becoming much more digital in a way that when we will be using technologies like process mining, data mining, and artificial intelligence and advanced analytics to create digital twins for integrated business planning, right? So effectively imagine that you, based on data and all the processes, you have a virtual replica of your entire integrated business planning process, right? So now that's a utopia, right? Creating that would require a lot of effort, a lot of interconnected mining of processes and data, and then making sure that it's working working properly as well. You have infrastructure in place and the right set of data in place. However, once that happens, the scenario planning part of IBP, the simulation part of integrated business planning process would become a breeze. So for example, if you are changing a packaging for any product, for instance, right? Yeah, so it'll enable the organization to run scenarios and measure performances around sustainability and ESG matrices even, right? So not just your financial matrices, but also the sustainability ones. So this is again, as I mentioned, it's a utopia. I haven't yet seen any digital twin, I must say, but I think the technology is already there and it can happen anytime soon. It's just probably a matter of time. And having said that, what I do believe is that in the near term, data as a product, right, would play a much bigger role in integrated business planning, where each domain owning their own data sets and then using that to in creating those sizable reusable and high quality data sets that can be reused across the organization, across the different planning cycles. So that will definitely play a role. But again, it's still, I guess, at the end of the day, it's more process than technology, right? So we need to focus on the process first and then move on to the technology piece.
Okay. Do you think one cup fits all when it comes to IBP? So the same IBP can fit in all sizes of organization and different industry, different backgrounds?
So you can always customize few things, right? So some But having said that, the underlying principles still remain the same, right? So it depends on your, so for example, if you are a service oriented organization, so that will have an entirely different view of how they are looking at their integrated business planning as opposed to a manufacturing one. So there will be those nuances, those industrial nuances always be there, but by and large the principle remains pretty much same, right? And that principle is around aligning on that one forecast, aligning on that one business plan on how to actually run your business in a way that right from your products, your productization to your financial planning, it all works in one harmony.
Okay. Uh, just before we leave the technology part, one last question on technology. Do you think in the market now we have one technology that can manage end to end from supply, demand, financial planning all together?
If you will ask vendors, they will say yes.
Of course, exactly. That's my point. Because all vendors, they come with a beautiful rosy picture,
Yeah.
but the reality is completely different.
Again, Mahmoud, it depends on how complex your processes are, right? Your complexity of your business, what are your business model. There is no one size fits all approach which works, right? You will in this dynamic technology driven environment, you have to go modular, right? And that's the best way to scale as well, right? Now, maybe for some organizations, it might work that there are certain solutions which provide a lot of features in there that have things like from your portfolio planning till the time your financial planning, they do provide that. But for some other organization, that same solution might not work. So it all depends. So again, becoming technology agnostic is a better way to look at it. Because then you are focused on the process, then you are focused on your business needs, and then based on your business needs, whatever the technology that fits, you go for that.
Okay, fair. Now the market is very tough everywhere, as you can see, and the competition is very tough. All the markets, developing, emerging markets, small and medium, giving the global economic situation. But the question here, how integrated business planning contribute to the company or organization competitiveness in the market?
So absolutely. See, I mean, it helps you increase your speed to market, right? Which is very important, right? If you know your demand, right? If you, at the end of the day, in our FP&A, pure FP&A hat, if we put our pure FP&A hats on, if we know sales, we know the rest of the P&L. Right, in a way, right?
Correct.
Many of my FP&A colleagues will disagree, but I mean, by and large, we have done that in the past, right? I mean, I know the sales, and we say that okay, this much is your profit, right?
True.
So if you know your demand, right, you pretty much knows a lot, and then the level of granularity that it can go in, ideally, the level of granularity your integrated business planning process should go in. It will create that visibility. So you make decision faster, you are much more agile, and naturally when you are much more agile, you are much more competitive, right? So and then you can run scenarios, right? Because this is different processes working in sync with each other. So you know that if a certain product is delayed, for instance, right? Or there is a certain promo plan that we need to run, right, in a certain week or in a certain month. How will that impact my supply planning or my forecasting or my financial planning and so on and so forth. So that makes you more nimble, more agile.
Okay.
So definitely there are competitive benefits to be reaped there.
Now, being part of the finance team or part of the implementation of the IPB, like any business, you have your ups and downs, you have your success, you have your own disappointment as any business. But what keeps you passionate always on digital transformation or evolving more the IPP process in any organization?
So digital transformation, as you rightly said, is my passion, right? So it is just the sheer potential, right? How much it can address the existential challenges that organizations face and turn those challenges into opportunities, right? It's fascinating how it happens, right? And the role that I can play makes you feel purposeful, makes me feel fulfilled,
Sure.
right? Number one. Number two, as I'll link back to what I talked earlier about my mission, is that I do genuinely believe that technology is going to make human life better. And it has in the past. We have seen, right? I mean, right from the printing press to the mass production of antibiotics and everything, we have seen how it has helped by and large, overall, end to end, overall, if we look at it, it has helped humans get better. It has improved our lifespans. It has improved our qualities of life, right? So I do believe that digital, in whatever form, has that potential to improve human life. Now, when we reflect that on our work, it will help us better. It will make us better workers for the future.
Sure.
We will be, as I was reading this book from by Kareem Lakhani and Marco ESNT. I hope I'm saying their names correctly. That what AI or technology does is pushes human towards the edge of the processes, right? So humans now look at more value added process which are towards the end, and the core, the routine becomes automated, right? So humans are now more into this. So if I apply that, and I was thinking about it, and if I apply that to the finance world, it's so true. If we are core operations, if we are able to automate those, if we are really able to unlock and harness the power of technology in that core, our roles will be moved towards the edge. And that is where we want to be. We want to be sitting at the edge of the finance, which right after which is your sales function, right after which is your marketing function, right after which is your other category and other functions there. So we all need to move into those business facing roles, those business facing areas. So, and I truly believe that technology, not just for finance, across the business, can help us create that. Okay. Can help us achieve that future.
Okay.
So yeah, it is that's what keeps me motivated about it, and that's what keeps me going. And I'm generally very excited about this subject and happy to always have a chat on that one.
That's very nice, Tariq. I think the analogy of automating the core, stretching finance to the edge, the beauty of what you said, that the edge is very close to the sales and marketing and supply chain, rather than being very introvert or inclusive in the core operation of finance. Very nice analogy from the book.
Thank you.
Well. Yeah. Really picture what's happening now to finance, to be fair. And I think with this analogy we can close our episode today. We should have another episode about AI and technology.
Definitely.
That's a big subject.
Yeah.
We cannot close it at once.
Definitely.
But as an overall, starting from the AI organic that can add strength to the humans and make human achieve more, going through the IBP process in terms of culture and people and process and technology, and then at the end of the day we have how the finance transformation or digital transformation is pushing finance to the edge of the finance to be close to the business as well. But it was really a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for having this.
Same here, Mahmoud. Thank you for having me. I had so much fun recording this podcast.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.